So we have been talking about using schema and how we have to use our schema as we're reading because there are times in our books that we're reading that the author gives us a message, but we have to kind of figure it out on our own. And we talked a little bit when we were asking questions about Edward Tulane. Sometimes those thick questions that we ask are not always the ones that we can find right away in the book. Sometimes we have to use schema to kind of help us figure it out. And when we do that, it's called inferring. And inferring means that you are using what you already know, all that stuff in your beautiful brains, and some clues from the book to help you understand what the author is trying to tell you. So an example was when we talked about gray-haired Charles, right? Our schema told us that someone with gray hair is probably an older person. So without the author telling us Charles was old, they were able to give us the vision, and we used our clues to kind of help us figure out what kind of a person Charles was. So going back to what inferring really is using your schema and clues from the text to help you figure out what the deeper meaning is in the story, okay? And that helps us understand why a character has certain feelings, right? Remember in Edward Tulane when in the beginning he really didn't have a lot of those feelings. And then all of a sudden the author, Kate DiCamillo, she started mentioning things about how now he started to get this weird feeling in his chest. And then later she described it as a weird feeling like he was feeling hollow and empty. So we could infer that Edward was beginning to change because he was different from the beginning of the story. So that might also help us figure out why a character behaves a certain way. We can also figure out where and when a story takes place. If I talk to you about a character, but I didn't tell you where they were, I might give you clues like, the sun was shining, she laid on the green grass and listened to the children laugh on the swings. Where would you infer that this person might be?
Park.
Delaney?
At the park.
Maybe at the park, because our schema tells us that grass, swings, kids laughing, that could be a park. So you use clues from what I was telling you and something that you already know about parks and playgrounds to help you figure out the place. We also use inferring to make predictions, right? Remember the part in the book where Edward was in the diner and everything went black? Well, our clue was that the man swung Edward and then it went black. Our schema told us, wait a minute, if he was swinging him and then it went black, we knew he probably cracked his head on the counter, correct? So inferring really helps you do a lot of things, and the beauty of inferring is that you do it and you don't even know you're doing it. It's kind of crazy. So here's how I want you to practice inferring today. I'm going to give you and your partner a little piece of a story that you may or may not have read before. You're going to read that part of the story, and your job with your partner is to infer using clues from the text and any kind of schema you know about the type of character or the type of place that this might be giving you clues about. Okay? So you and your partner, when I give you your example, you're going to head back to your desk, place in the room. You'll need 2 pencils because you both need to add your